Hi everyone, it's Tammy, your friendly neighborhood advocate. I know I've been gone for a long time, but I've been really busy with you people. I have a lot of cases and I'm loving it. I really like doing what I do, and I want to thank you all who have allowed me to come into your world and to help you out. So, with that being said, today we are going to talk about transitional assessments. There are three areas that are very important: vocational, independent living, and community. Okay, community participation. So today we're going to talk about those three things and what it looks like if you were to request an evaluation that covered those areas. So if you want to know what to ask for and what those three areas contain, stay with me and I'll be talking to you about all of it and what you can do to get it in. Okay, so see you real soon. Okay, so as I stated earlier, there's three areas. It's vocational, independent living skills, and community participation. All of those things are very important when your child is transitioning from the public school setting to, home or adult living, okay, adulthood. So a lot of times people don't understand what that means and what it looks like, because what the school districts do is they just do their regular testing and then they say they did and then they didn't. Okay, so for instance, if the school district did a transitional assessment regarding your kid, then one of the things they have to there's three things they have to look at. It's preferences, interests, and your child's needs, okay, given your child's unique circumstances. All right, so what does that mean? It means that the school district needs to ask your kid what he wants to do when he grows up. They need to figure out what he prefers to do, and they need to figure out what his interests are in relationship to his preferences, and can we make a match. Now there's assessments for that, and I will put a link below so that you guys can find it. Okay, and it's real simple. Two of them are free. One is the Casey Living Skills Assessment, which is free online, and I'll put the uh, uh, address down below. And the other one is ONET, which is free from the Department of Labor. Yeah, that's what a lot of people will use when they're trying to find a job and they're trying to figure out, what's their niche? What are they really good at? Some people don't know. And so this helps them to figure out what it looks like, okay, if they're compatible with that particular field or something like that field. So anyway, that's what a transitional assessment is all about. Now, in order to do that part, the vocational part, there's other things you need to know first. You need to know how to fill out an application would be nice. Okay. You need to know the difference between fill out your application online or do it in the store. Both of those ways you need to know, especially the online part. So when a kid sees a sign that says at Dunkin' Donuts, for instance, and it says now hiring, apply online, does your kid know what that means? A lot of kids don't know what that means. So we have to teach them what that means, okay? And that's part that can go into an IEP, okay? How does he interact with others? If he was in a situation where he was at work, can we collect data for that? Do we know his current level of performance? And if we don't, can we collect data for that? And the answer is yes, we can. It's called a job coach, okay, or an FBA. The BCBA goes there, they figure out the target behavior, and then they start collecting data on things like taking orders, taking instructions, taking directions, executing the directions or instructions that his supervisor gave him. How fast can they do it? Did they need help doing it? There's lots of different aspects with the vocational assessment part of a transitional assessment. You see, we need to know what your kid needs to know before your kid leaves and goes on to adulthood. So the school district has to prepare them for that. Just like the typical kid knows how to do this, okay? Like I did. I was a typical kid. I knew based on my education and what I could do at school that I needed. If I wanted a job, I had to fill out an application. And I knew how to fill out that application because I knew how to write, I knew how to read, simple things like that. Nowadays, most kids are doing it online. So, and most companies will have one big area where you go and apply for a job position. They'll tell you, go to this website, and then you can apply for it online. So it's not even like the actual company's website. So these are little things that your kids need to know, okay? Vocational skills, how to dress for an interview, how to ask questions at an interview. Like, for instance, Does your kid know that they really need to ask how much they're going to get paid, how many hours they're going to work? Your kid needs to know those kinds of questions, the kinds of answers. But they don't know that those questions can be asked. They don't even know those questions exist. They're just going to show up to go to work. So we have to help them get there, okay? So anything that has to do with how you get a job, your kid needs to be taught, okay? And it has to be in sequence. You have to be able to teach him. You have to figure out what he can do. And then whatever he can't do, you bring those weaknesses up to meet his strengths. That's what an IEP is for, okay? So, and then of course, there's the independent living skills one. So if your kid has a job, does your kid have a bank account for the money that he's going to get paid? Does he know how to open up a bank account? No. Does he know how to make a deposit? Does he know how to make a withdrawal? Does he know how to fill out the paperwork to do direct deposit? Does he have that information? Okay. That's independent living. Does he know how to pay a bill? Does he know how to go food shopping or clothing shopping? Or does he know how to weigh out prices? Okay. Some of these things, they do need help with, and somebody will be there to help them. But some kids don't need that help. They just need to learn how to do it. They need to know how to make a grocery list. Okay. They need to know how to pay the utility bills or a car note, or they need to know how to pay car insurance. What's the purpose of car insurance? And a lot of these assessments, the Casey's Living Skill one, for instance, they will ask those questions. Okay, the AFLS does the same thing, the Assessment of Functional Living Skills. They ask questions like that too, and they go so deep, it's disgusting. Okay, your kid needs to know that they have responsibilities. If they want something done, then they have to do this, and they can learn these kinds of things in school. Now, will they be perfect? No, but at least we can get them to some sort of independent living where they're not 100% dependent on you or somebody else. So that if something happens, like say, I don't know, an emergency, does your child know how to call for help? Does your child even know the difference? What is an emergency? Like for instance, if your toilet is overflowing in the bathroom, does your kid know to go grab the plunger to stop it from doing that or to shut off the water? Does your kid know how to do that? Now that's hard because you don't have an overflowing bathroom every day. Okay, so it depends on what the emergency is. For instance, safety. Does your kid know how to, if he got a cut on his finger, to go get a Band-Aid and put it on himself? Or to even ask somebody for help to put a Band-Aid on the cut? Does he know to run his hand under cold water if he got burned with something on the stove or something like that? Does your kid know how to operate a stove? These are areas that need to be in your kid's IEP. You need to know what your kid's current level of performance is in all of the areas that I've just mentioned. Vocational skills, independent living skills. Now we're going to go into community, okay? Community participation is, does your kid like to do stuff outside of home? Does your kid know how to walk to the corner to catch the bus? Does your kid even know what bus to take? There could be 3 buses going by your house. You could live in the city. There could be 3 different buses going to 3 different locations. Does your kid know which one to take? Does your kid know where to get off on the bus? How about taking a train? A lot of places have trains. Does your kid know how to do that? Does your kid need to know how to set up a doctor's appointment if he needs to go to the doctor's, to schedule his yearly appointment? These are daily living skills. How about washing clothes? Okay. Putting the clothes away, putting the clothes in the washing machine and dryer, starting those 2 machines. Does your kid know how to use a can opener? These are the things that the school district can test your kid for. There are assessments for it, okay? I will put a link below. Let me say that again. I will put a link below. That was a little jumbled. For all of these types of assessments, okay? And then you get this done. So now you know you have the current level performance for those 3 areas. And they're huge. Each one of those areas are huge. Okay. So if your kid is 14 or your kid is 16, because under the law, under federal law, the school district has to do their first transitional assessment by the age of 16. However, there are some states that start earlier at 14, which is wonderful. Unless they're doing the same stupid stuff I've been seeing lately. Okay. Which is absolutely nothing. I can't even tell you how many assessments I've seen that didn't include any of the stuff we just did. What we just talked about. One school district actually did it's called the AFLs, the Assessment of Functional Living Skills. Oh yeah, they left out the kids 20. There's six tests. And within each test, there are subtests, 8 to 12 subtests. Do you know which tests they left out? You're not going to believe this. Independent living. They didn't even bother. And the other assessments were like home skills, basic living skills, vocational skills. Those things were barely filled out. He was at a 0 level, almost everything. You know why? He's been going to a private school that decided, well, we're not going to teach him anything. Oh, yeah. We're just going to babysit. We're just going to charge the school district a whole bunch of money. And apparently the school district's cool with it. And this school's in Massachusetts. School district is good with paying that kind of money for the kid to come out and learn nothing. So now we're in a hearing because they're crazy. Okay? So going to teach him what crazy really looks like. All right? So the other thing they didn't do, and this is part of the transitional assessment. So when you get your transitional assessment done, which covers a lot of different stuff, plus academics, it covers OT, PT, speech and language, all of those assessments come in too. But the transitional assessment is all about your kid leaving this school and what is your kid going to do when he leaves? Because if you let the school dictate what your kid's going to do when your kid leaves school to live in the adult world, is he going to sit home and do this? Because they don't care if your kid is doing anything. Okay, so one of the things that also has to be talked about is who may be responsible for your kid when your kid becomes an adult, such as for issues like housing, medical insurance, Social Security benefits. Who is responsible for helping your kid access those various agencies? Okay? Those people are supposed to be sitting at the table to tell you. See, my clients, I got you covered. All of my clients got Social Security. They all have their insurance cards, okay? The parents already have guardianship, legal guardianship, on all my kids over 18, okay? 18 and over, all my parents, I got it, I did it all, okay? It doesn't cost an arm and a leg. You do not need an attorney, okay? All you need to do is know how to fill out those papers and what to bring to the judge. For instance, in Massachusetts, okay, all of the paperwork's online. As far as guardianship, you just got to fill it out. Now, here's another thing. If you're going to fill out guardianship papers, that's what you have to do when your kid turns 18. Otherwise, guess what? You don't have access to doodly squat. You don't have access to his medical. If something happens to your kid, he's 18 years old, something happens to your kid, doctors are not talking to you. They can only talk to the kid. You know, the kid that's developmentally challenged. Okay? The kid with a severe disability, that's who they can, legally, they cannot talk. You could sue them. Your kid could sue them if they talk to you. So the first order of business is, if your kid needs to be overseen by you as an adult, you need to go before the court. Okay? When your kid turns 18, 2 months before your kid turns 18, a couple of months, or during that team meeting phase, you have to fill out a paper that's called the age of majority, in which your kid and your kid either allows you to help them, you can take control of the whole and just keep doing what you're doing. So what I'm trying to say is that part of the transitional assessment when your kid turns 18 is to get legal guardianship if that needs to be done. If your kid has dyslexia, chances are you don't need guardianship. But if your kid has severe autism or is cognitively challenged in any way, that your kid would need adults, other adults to help them make medical, financial, or legal decisions, you're going to need to go after guardianship, okay? And it's not that difficult. The papers are online, and you go and you apply for it. And if you're indigent, okay, there is paperwork for that too, where you end up not paying for anything. Okay, in Massachusetts, the court systems will give you guardianship if they're going to give it to you that day, the day you applied. It takes 10 minutes. And what I do is I help my parents. I fill out all the papers first, and then I tell them exactly what they need to bring with them to the courthouse. And then I also help them fill out the indigency papers, which will allow the courts to either reduce or waive the fee for filing. which could be costly. I mean, if you're living on a fixed budget, then $250 is a lot of money. You don't want to pay an attorney $5,000 when you can do it yourself. It's not that hard. I'm not even kidding. I've done it from here. I've helped parents fill out the paperwork from here, from Pennsylvania, and it was from Massachusetts. So it's not that difficult to do. All right. So, what you can do, what you have to do, so you get the transitional assessment done. At 18, you make sure you get guardianship if you need it, okay? Because that'll stop a lot of nonsense with the school district. If you have to get guardianship, then as soon as you get it, you'll get it. In Massachusetts, you'll see the judge in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, it's over and done. The judge gives you 90-day temporary guardianship. In 90 days, you go back in front of the court and you present more information or whatever it is that the judge is asking you to do. I forgot what it is, but you present it and the judge makes a decision. And then every year, you just submit paperwork to the judge, to the courthouse, to keep that guardianship. You have to meet a certain criteria. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. But once you get the guardianship, whether it's temporary or after the temporary, you get the legal guardianship, you have to give that to the doctors, the dentist. You have to give a copy to the school district, if your kid is in a private placement, you have to give it to them so that they know you're making all the decisions. Nothing's changed, okay, on your kid. That's after your kid turns 18. Now, another thing that the school district has to do when they're doing a transitional assessment between the ages of 14 and in some states 14, in every state at 16, is if they're doing the assessments and they find that your kid, the team first has to make a determination whether or not your kid needs goals and objectives in their IEP. To ensure that they're meeting that. Well, goals and objectives have to be in the IEP. However, they don't have to be measurable. But if you're trying to teach your kid how to cook or clean or do any of that stuff, that can be measured because it's observable behavior. And what you want to do is you want to teach your kid how to do it. So what they do is they break down the steps on what your kid is going to do. There's data that is to be collected. It's called a task analysis. All right. And you just get the school to write it up. So now you're saying, the team agrees whether or not your kid needs measurable goals and objectives or goals in their IEP. Once that's decided, now the team has to decide whether the kid needs additional services and supports to meet that goal that you guys just decided is going in his IEP. Okay? That's the whole transitional assessment. Now they have to implement it. Okay. And what I can show you guys how to do is how to make sure that you're getting all the data, that your kid is doing this. Because I'm seeing stuff right now that will blow your mind. It's disgusting what they're doing. They're not even attempting. One school district, we asked the school district to do an FBA and a transitional assessment. And there was something else. They did the FBA. They never did an FBA. The kid's been in this private school that costs over $200,000 a year for 4 years. The kid's been in this private school for 4 years. They've never done an FBA. The last FBA that was done was by a previous school. And then that was an outside. They paid for that. That was an independent, I believe. And then the private day school, we all agreed that one school would do the FBA and the other school would develop the BEP, the behavior support plan. Okay? We agreed to that. Since the day that the first independent eval was done, they have never done another one. And he's been in the new school for 4 years. But they did modify the behavior support plan 4 times. It's because they don't care. So we just had a conference call, and they just told the school district that the hearing officer that the FBA was 53 pages. No, it wasn't. First of all, it was a summary of a 2017 FBA. That's number one. Number two, it was 2 pages. The other 51 pages was the Abel's R and all of the graphs. That's how much they lied right to the hearing officer. I said, that's not true. They don't listen. They don't care. Shh. They don't care. Nothing about your kid. It's like if you buy a new car And as you're driving it off the lot, it depreciates by $3,000. And the dealer says, yeah, bye-bye. They're all done. Whatever happens to that car, that's on you. They don't care nothing about that car. Bye, Felicia. They don't care nothing about it. That's how they feel about your kid. Sorry, but they do. Okay? So, now, when you're doing the transitional assessment and you ask for these assessments, there's a certain way you need to ask for these assessments. Any assessments, to be honest. Excuse me. What you need to do is, instead of telling them what test you want, or instead of saying all areas of suspected disability, what you need to do is pinpoint it. You need to box them in, okay? Now, if they want to go outside of that, beyond what you want, cool. But they can't go less. Because if they do, then you get to come back and say, you didn't evaluate in all areas of suspected disability. I asked for this, and you only did this, and this. Where's the rest of this information? There's a reason why I needed all that information. There's a reason why we need to know. We need to write a reasonably calculated IEP. We can't do that because we don't have all of the information. Now, another thing you guys don't know is that when a school district does evaluations, I don't care what kind of evaluation, transitional assessments, the WISC-5, any of those assessments, the school districts have to put in there their conclusions. They have to tell you what their results mean for your kid. They can't say, well, we're going to wait and we'll discuss it at the team meeting. Well, that means that evaluation is inconclusive. It's like going to a heart doctor and you're getting an EEG and all of this stuff, and the doctor runs the test and writes up the whole report. And you go, yeah, and so what does this mean? The doctor just walks out the door. We'll discuss it, with your team of doctors. What do you mean we're going to discuss it when you don't know the answer to your own stuff? There's a reason why when you go to the doctors, there's only one doctor in the room after they did testing, because that doctor is going to discuss his results. They're going to interpret their results. They're going to make a diagnostic impression. They're going to give you a conclusion, and they're going to give you a summary. And they're going to give you recommendations as to what you need in order to address this issue. That's what evaluations don't have in our country. Nobody does that. They all say, well, save it for the team. Do you know how many schools I've gotten? That means all of those assessments are inconclusive. They don't have all of the information that we need. And everybody sitting at the team, unless every single person sitting at that team is an OT, a PT, a speech and language, a board certified, hold all of these credentials at once. Unless all of them do that, they can't. The team can't determine what the OT says your kid needs based on their assessment. Why do you need them? You're not confident in yourself? That means I got to get independent. I need independent. You don't even know what your own results mean without everybody standing here next to you. Are you kidding me with that? I'm not an OT. And I look at the parent. You OT? No. SPED director, you OT? No. I mean, everybody here OT? I thought there was only one OT here. Only the OT can make a determination as to what they found in your kids' OT evaluation. And that goes for everything straight across the board. So you guys got to pay attention to that too. Okay? So, what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you do the transitional assessment, that it covers 3 areas at the very least: vocational, independent living, and community participation. Those are so important for just going out into adulthood, from being in a structured setting like a public school or a private school, that it's unbelievable. Okay? And they need to, the reason why you get this done at 16 is because whatever that assessment says, you need to start working on that stuff now, because the assessment says that this is what the kid can do and this is what he can't do. And the stuff that they can't do is what they need to be working on right now. Because that's how you prepare somebody. You don't take him to the end of the pier because it's the end of the year for him and just push him into the water and then say sink or swim. That's what they're doing to your kid by not preparing your kid when they've had all of this time to do it. Okay? So that is what you're going to do. And I'm going to give you all of the information for what each one of those sections says. Okay, so that when you go to ask for transitional assessment, or they say they're going to do a transitional assessment, you're going to send them back and say, these are the areas I want assessed. They're giving your kid's age. Okay, what you need to do is just tell them you want the AFLs. Because there's some assessments, there's some, like if your kid is 14, then doing vocational, some of the vocational sets, subtests are good. Some are too much because they're way beyond your kid. And it depends on how old the kid is. And you can do the AFLs for any age kid to find out what their independent living skills are. It's the assessment for functional skills. So if your kid needs to know how to make a bed, that's in there. There's a question in there. Does your kid know how to make a bed? And its assessment is just observable stuff, or it's the assessment is based on familiarity. I can never say that word. Familiarity of the kid and actually observing the kid doing the thing. That's what it's based on. It's not like real hard to do. Anybody can do it. I purchased it, as a matter of fact. I have it. So if you wanted me to do it, I could do it. There's certain assessments that I can do. I can help your kid do the Casey Living Skills, the ONET, and the assessment of functional living skills. And I think there's a couple of others, but I can definitely do those right now. So they're not that difficult. And what it does is it produces a written report. All of those, and then you just give them to the school. You have a team meeting to discuss those results. And when you give the school district an assessment, they have to treat it as if it was one of theirs. They have to schedule a team meeting to discuss the results. If they don't, it's a violation. You file a complaint. Anytime these people don't do something, do yourself a favor, file a complaint. If you need somebody to help you file a complaint, hello. I do it all the time, and it's fun as hell. I love doing it. Takes me a minute every now and then, depending on how complicated and how long you guys waited. When you file a state complaint for them to investigate a school, you can only go back 1 year. However, that doesn't mean you can't throw in other stuff to demonstrate so that they can have a point of reference. Okay? Now, the reason why you could throw it in there too is just in case you might want to go to court. You might want to have a hearing on that nonsense that they did that went beyond that. Okay? So, just in case, throw it in there anyway. So, because now that you're sending a subliminal message to the school district, if they're reading it right, which we can't guarantee they are, they don't read anything. They just make up stuff as they go along. I'm so sick of this country sometimes. I just want to... Anyway, back to normal. So anyway, you guys, this is just going to be a short one, and I'm going to put some stuff in this video so you guys can see it. And please, 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 if you have any comments, please help me out and ask me some questions below, and put your comments in. I will answer all of them as fast as I can. I will provide you with more information if need be. I need you to like, follow, hit that little bell, and so I can increase my viewer, and then I can keep my prices low because I can get paid through YouTube. I'm just keeping it real. You guys know me. That's how I am. Help a girl out and just put this stuff out there. I hope you guys got something out of this. I loved it. I'm just starting to do some new stuff, and I'm hoping this will work out because I just bought something else. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good day, and you are a warrior. Just remember that you are your kid's warrior. Go get them. Just do it right, okay? Paper trail them to death. Do not talk to them on the phone. Everything is a paper trail. Put it in writing. Put it in writing. Put it in writing, okay? Make them put stuff in writing. And if they don't, you say, this is to reiterate our conversation we had earlier today when you said, that's how you get them, okay? Now they have to respond, okay? So we'll talk more about that. Prior written notice and everything. So I'm going to put this information down below, and anything you guys need to talk about, you let me know about the areas your kid is being assessed in, and hopefully we can help our kids. It's been a tough couple of years. It's not looking good. So I think it's just going to continue to be a fight. But I will talk to you guys later. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have a great day, and just keep fighting the good fight. I love you. I'm there for you. Peace be with you. Bye, guys.